Hi, thanks for joining me on Boulders with Monty. I'm back at Lake Tahoe, and I'm going to be climbing down to fish off the boulders. I'm up from Sand Harbor State Park a little ways, and I'm going to climb down there, find a spot, and start soaking bait. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I got up at 3:30 to get out here early. And that's no big deal because once I get my lines in the water, I'm just going to go back to sleep. Rock mattress is totally comfortable for me. I'm used to sleeping on rocks, dirt, and sticks when I'm fishing. So as long as there's none of those black ants crawling on me, that freaks me out when I'm asleep and I just feel that thing on my neck all of a sudden. I'm just, ah! So I hate that. And there's a blazing full moon going on right now. I don't know if it's one of those made-up name moons, like a blueberry cheesecake moon or whatever they do to get people to click on it and find more information about it. When I was growing up, there was just a full moon. I don't know. We're here to catch rainbows that are feeding on crawdads in the boulders. I have this theory that's unsupported by any scientific studies or literature or anything. My theory is that during these full moons, the crawdads are really active at night, and the big rainbows will come in and eat them all night long, and that's why the fishing's slow during the day. Again, that's a theory supported by nothing and based completely on assumptions. So let's go see if I can prove that theory wrong right now and go get myself a big rainbow to eat. There's a point way over there I'd like to try, but because it's way over there, that's not going to happen today because I don't have that kind of inspiration in me. This bay right here, this cove area, is shallow out there, and then you get to the deeper water over here. And with the water so high, it's harder to find places to fish. There's just less options. So just to give you an idea how high the lake level is, if you go to my Lake Tahoe shore fishing playlist, I have several videos where I'm fishing out in this area. And a lot of them I'm fishing on the farthest rock out there to the left. That's completely out in the water now. And you just walk right over all of this. Instead, I got to go over this high water over here. One of the big challenges when you fish out off these big boulders in Tahoe is you got to find a secure place to put your rods. And the reason I have that clip on my fishing tips playlist for new people that fish, make sure your rod's secure, is because I've lost a couple rods. And sometimes these big trout will give you a chance and they'll give you a little bit of a warning before they take it. Other times they just take it and your rod will be gone. But I got a good rod set here, very secure. I can put one line out that way, one line out that way. And the only challenge will be the water's about 10 feet below me, 15 feet below me. So if I get a fish, if I get it on my night crawler rod, which will be this side, I can shimmy down here and then my net will be down here. If I get one on this side, it's going to be a little trickier because that's not a good route. I'm going to have to shimmy under this line and make it down here. The goal is I'll have to make it down here because this is a really good place to land a fish with the water so high. There's big boulders everywhere down there, but it's not as bad when you hook a fish over here. If the fish goes on that side of the rock, you're really in big trouble, and I've been in big trouble here before. So I usually like to fish there because it's got a really good napping spot on the rocks. It's almost therapeutic with your back because of the way the rock is shaped, but I could easily nap it out right here and use my layer bag as a pillow, and then this rock will be my most comfortable mattress. So my lines are in. I got power bait on this one, tiny ball of power bait on a size 18 treble hook, And then I got a big inflated crawler on this one. And I'm using 8-pound test with 6-pound fluorocarbon leaders to make it a little better for the big boulders out there. Because the shoreline out there underwater looks a lot like this. So you need to have some rugged line. I usually fish 6-pound test straight through and through. If you want to see how I rig up, go ahead and go to my fishing tips playlist. My rigging up for reservoir trout clip shows you the basic setup, and then I have a supplemental clip, the adjustments I make for Lake Tahoe. I'm ready to go. I got my umbrella for the sun. Got a big thing of 50 sunscreen. It's only going to get to be about 70 degrees today, so it's going to be pretty nice. So we're going to soak bait. My experience is, once the water warms up a little bit, warm enough for the crawdads to come out, the big rainbows come in and feed in the rocks, in the boulders. I don't know what that looks like. If somebody scuba dives, please shoot a video of trout getting them. I don't know if they're swimming through the caves or where they're getting them. All I know is, if you look at videos on my Lake Tahoe shore fishing playlist where I catch these big rainbows in the boulders, they always have their stomachs full to the top with crawdads, to the point where there's crawdads in their mouth because they can't swallow them. Yet they still go for my bait. And I'll open the fish up and put the pile of crawdads and let you see how many crawdads are eating. So eating crawdads here is definitely a thing. And people always say, well, why don't you just use a crawdad? Because if you drop a crawdad out there in the boulders, it's just going to sink down into a crevice, or other crawdads are going to attack it, or it's going to crawl you into a snag. Starting to think this isn't the best place to be fishing. There's just one wave of kayakers coming after another. So I might have to pull the plug on this really early. So my night crawler, I almost left because there were so many kayaks. Where is he? He's there. I'm feeling him. I got my chest cam on because it's impossible. It's going to be a... There he is. He's taking it. He's taking it. He took it. I got my chest cam on because it's tough to film going down this crazy rock face. It's a good rainbow, or it's a good something. You got to get your inner billy goat going so that you can make it safely down these rocks. Ooh, he's running. He's running. Yeah, that's a good trout. That's a good rainbow. That's what I'm here for. Got to get under this other line. I can tell by the way he was biting that there was something good going. So earlier today, it's like 2 o'clock now, there were people up there playing radios, and then there was big groups of kayaks coming over here. Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm here for, this guy. This is the only bite I've gotten all day. There's been like groups of 15. Let me get over this line. There were like groups of 15 kayaks coming in at a time on a tour. And then I guess they like to come in this cove. This is why you want that fluorocarbon leader, because this isn't a huge fish, but it's big enough where he could saw you off in a second on all these boulders. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. Don't you do it to me, boy. Woo! That's what we're looking for. That's a nice big Lake Tahoe rainbow. And this will probably end my day, because I don't need much more fish than this to eat. These rod holders make great ways to dispatch fish. You hit them like 3 times and they're done. Woo! That's a big boy right there. It's a nice rainbow. Here he is, me holding him. There's no point in me really fishing much longer, because once I get a fish like this, I'm one dude, and I can eat this fish for the next 2 or 3 days, and that's about it. And that's a nice 21-inch rainbow. But he's not that fat, but that fish has a lot of meat on it. And there's some outstanding fillets. And I do the first part of the cleaning here. I get the bulky part done because I don't have a huge kitchen and a huge cutting board. So this is really messy to process a fish this big in my kitchen. So what I do is I do the main filleting out here. And then when I get home, I have a really skinny, sharp knife. And I carve off all the scraps. And then I like to cook up the scraps and the fins and just eat that like with my hand because it cooks in 2 seconds. And this is what I was talking about. This fish has considerable mouth damage. Somebody lost this fish. There's no hook in there, but it was healing up. But the end of the line came for this guy. I made the full gallon block of ice, which is good because this fish is big. And I want to make sure I have enough ice to keep this thing fresh for a couple days. So I have another block of ice at home that I can smash up and pour on him. And then I got my carcass in there in the big bag, and then I got the small bag with my fillets. Got all the air out of it. Then you just dump on the cubed up blocked ice. And that's gonna keep this nice and fresh. Then I put my night crawlers in there. And then I got a towel to keep it nice and cold. Boom. Pat that down. And then just for good measure, I'll throw one of my layers on top to keep more of the warm air off that ice. As if that fishing shirt could get any dirtier. So the fleets of kayaks were coming in here, and they had a tour guide, and he would send them in there. And he was cool because he kept saying, hey, watch out for that guy's lines when they were coming out. And, you know, the lake's for everybody. Then I had dudes up there, and they were swimming right where I hooked that fish. Right off of this point, I catch fish for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's because they're cruising the rock line, but I do good right off of that point. And it's like a 21 count with a half-ounce sinker. So it's pretty deep right there, especially with this high water mark. I had my pad there, and then I have my umbrella, and I just laid there, and I just crashed out for a couple of naps. That was nice and refreshing. So one thing you gotta know about Lake Tahoe when you're targeting those big rainbows cruising the boulders for food, the bite can come at any time of the day. like the middle of the day. If you go to my Lake Tahoe shore fishing playlist, I got like 50 videos on there. You'll see I get a lot of big rainbows just right in the middle of the day. And sometimes you get max off the rocks, and they're cruising through too when there's a lot of food. But this was great. As I said, mission accomplished. I almost pulled the plug and went home. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm here. Let's wait it out. You just have to have faith that that bite can come. And when that fish was biting, I could tell it was big because it was going boom. It wasn't going ding, 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 when they like run with it. It was going boom, boom, boom. And then when I was holding my rod, it just pulls down. Bam! 21-inch honey. Right on. Thanks for joining me on this great day out at Lake Tahoe. Thanks for joining me on Wilderness with Amani. Until next time.